Hey, Scarefest. This is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. This week's one is kind of new. It came out last year, but it's Spiral from the Book of Saw. I think of Spiral, I think of hams, but that's just me. I'm a fat guy. I have a hard time with this one because I don't think I'm the audience for it. And what I mean by that is that this isn't the movie made for me. I saw the first Saw when it came into theaters or came out in theaters back in the day. Lee Whannell's film. He wrote it, directed by James Wan, who'd go on to do Aquaman and The Conjuring. And I enjoyed it a lot. I loved it. It was so different and it was new and it's complex and had a great ending. And then I enjoyed the second and third one as well. I really do, or did. And then they kept making them, and then I couldn't care less. And this is one that is from the Book of Saw. So basically what it is Chris Rock is a detective and there's this murder and we find out that someone's a copycat of Jigsaw. That's the story. Then we find out more that Chris Rock turned over some evidence that got some people in trouble and some bad cops. We also find out that his father was the chief of police, who's played by Samuel L. Jackson, and a couple of short cameos. And we just find out more and more as the murders take place. There's some things I like about it. I like the kind of the ending and I liked where it was going, but there's some things that I dislike about it so much. For example, a lot of the dialogue, a lot of the writing's terrible. But if Chris Rock is just being Chris Rock, then it works. The problem is he tries to be real serious in this and it just doesn't sell it for me. Okay. It just doesn't. And I think he's a better actor than this movie gives it. I think he's a better actor than he is in this movie. If any of you have watched any of the Fargo and his season of Fargo, this Fargo series, then you know he's a better actor than this movie. The problem is he's not very good in this. He does what I'd like to call Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, as I like to call them, from Supernatural did a lot of this, especially Padalecki. I call it smell of fart act. Chris Rock does a whole scene of this. You smell that? It's a fart. That's what they're doing. They're smelling a fart acting. He does it down a hallway. It's awful. It's terrible. It's a terrible performance. I love Chris Rock. Chris Rock is a comedic genius. I just think that this is not the right role for him. I understand why he's trying to, or if it was, he wasn't directed very well. Actually, the movie's directed by Darren Lynn Bousman, who's been to Scarefest and one of the nicest guys. And it looks nice. It looks like a Saw film. He directed part 2, 3, and 4 as well. So the issue is if you love Saw, I think you'll like this movie. It has some of the traps, it has some of the same stuff, but is it a Saw film? Not really. It's kind of a takeoff on Saw. Should you see it? If you like Saw, then check it out. If you don't, then this isn't going to make it any better for you. It's not. There's just a lot of bad dialogue, but the story's not awful. So I'm kind of wishy-washy on whether I can recommend it or not. I'm sorry. It's just one of those where it wasn't made for me. I started picking it apart a little bit, and Chris Rock's performance is good when he's Chris Rock, but when he's trying to be this guy who's got all this morose, dark feelings, it doesn't work. He doesn't carry it. Doesn't have the gravitas. That's okay. Sam Jackson's only in it for a little bit. I'm sure they shot him out in 2 or 3 days. They get the most out of it. But check it out if you love Saw. If you don't love Saw, then this isn't the movie for you. This isn't where to enter. I've seen worse. It isn't terrible. I just can't recommend it unless you're a big Saw fan. So this has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. Thank you.